so bad you. Are you like that? Are you like that?
I'm breathless.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's interesting. Shout out to Ben Cat. Ben Cat, man,
Wow.
shout out. He's got some more stuff for me. He's just like sending me stuff, and
Wow.
I'm trying to because my phone is freezing up, my computer's freezing up.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
shout out to Ben Cat. I gotta between all my devices, I gotta grab them and
yeah,
hurry up and upload them before all my stuff freezes up. So
yeah.
welcome back, Nature Mom. It's been a
Thank you.
while.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's great
Yes,
to be
yes.
back here. Yeah,
Great to have you back.
yeah,
Because as
so
oh,
much has happened. What can we
okay,
say?
okay.
So,
I'm
but
right, right. So much has happened on my end too. So I
yeah,
wanted to, let me get the lighting. Let me
yeah. I'm sorry about the background and my
let
lighting
me get the
situation
lighting.
today.
No, you're
You know,
good. I
I
was
kind of
kind of dark. Yeah, I was kind of in the dark there for a minute. Let me. Yep, that's right. Okay. All right. So there's a lot of been going on my end too, and we had a kind of a conversation. I didn't know where you wanted to start off, but I do want to deal with that
okay,
situation
okay,
because shout out
okay.
to Trevor. Me and Trevor, I want to resolve this, and I think you're the best person that can resolve this in a way that it won't, because he really wants to do a debate. I'm like, no, it's not a debate because really, Bob Marley did more sales. He was pushed. He was pushed. So when you push somebody like uh, Martin Luther King or Bob Marley or Rosa Parks, then yeah, they're gonna. That's what you're gonna know, and that's what you're gonna see.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Just
Yeah.
like Jimi Hendrix was pushed during the English British invasion. But you haven't saw that debate yet, so I'm gonna let you check
I
that
haven't
out.
seen it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna have
it
to
went
check
quite
that one
well.
out.
Let me say it went
I would
exactly how I
imagine
planned it.
so.
Yeah, it went
I mean,
exactly how I planned it.
especially, I think that people didn't do their homework and know that you actually have a musical background. So you're kind of cheating a little bit. you know,
Are you calling me a cheater? Wait, your mom.
taking advantage of your advantages, maybe. Yes, but
Oh, okay. No, that means shout out to Asar. He claimed he said he worked at 24 track, so
okay,
I'm assuming
okay.
he's an
So
engineer.
he has his background exact. Okay,
Even though
all
it's only
right.
rap, 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 rap. I mean, an R&B, rap, rap, rap. He
Okay.
didn't have the actually, but he showed. He duked it out with me. It was a nice fight.
Okay.
It was
All right.
long.
I definitely gotta like catch up on that one.
Yes, you do.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm excited.
But the thing is, I'm gonna have to retire from musical debates because really, what it is, Nature Mom, at the end of the day, it's just preference. And I would be a hypocrite if I sit up here and say, no, they're not the greatest of all time. That's a Christian. I call the Christian mentality. It's conquest. It's prophetizing. It's my way or no way. That's the Christian mentality. And I was doing that to Trevor when it came to Bob Marley. No, Bob Marley is something that he enjoys. I don't enjoy Bob Marley like that because I know the history. I know who taught Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, who taught do the arrangements, Peter Tosh, and I know who pushed Bob Marley. Bob Marley's not my cup of tea. I'm more revolutionary, just like Martin Luther King is not my cup of tea. I've always geared towards the Malcolm X's, the Peter Toshes, my
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
just yeah.
I mean, I think that like that's where we differ a little bit because I
Mm-hmm.
think that when you talk about music, um, what the world is doing to music, and then when I talk about the world, the world is following, their leadership.
Right,
They're following the marketing ploys, and they're not doing their due diligence. I use that statement a lot. Hi,
right.
twin. Um, they're not doing their own due diligence and learning history. One of the greatest things, Deacon, good to see you too. One of the greatest things that I learned doing music around the world. Okay, Twinsm 11, good to
That's
see you
Zanzi, yeah.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Zanzi, oh, hey Zanzi. So um, we will definitely get to FIFA, but I think doing music outside of the US and traveling and meeting all of these, musicians who don't speak, English as a first language, and you're really trying to understand like what moves them and what passion they're bringing,
Right.
to the performance with you. you start to learn a lot of things that are not being, let's say, taught in the United States. So, for
Hmm.
example, I heard more Bruce Springsteen outside of the US than I've ever heard inside the US, and
Right.
he was like
Yes.
MTV's number one artist, at the beginning of MTV being MTV when it used to actually be for
And
music.
they pushed him, and I don't think he was that great. I would prefer John Cougar Mellencamp over Bruce Springsteen, but that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah,
But he was
yeah.
pushed. He was pushed.
And he was popular Jersey boy, the typical American narrative that was being given at that time. So he was the perfect image for that because, all the other big guys that started MTV, they were from Britain,
That's right.
so, they like, they let's say the American side of the industry, they really wanted to push this very American ideology
Right.
that was happening at the time. And
Oh, kind of
this
like Madonna over Bananarama,
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
Bananarama was way more talented than Madonna. But I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I get you. I mean, and there's so many artists like that. I think that the important point that I wanted to make about it, though, is traveling with these people and really learning what moved them was and the depth of education, musicology that they, white guys in Poland doing reggae music, they were like, we better know our stuff because we're about to get up on stage with some real Jamaican artists here, and we can't just be some garage band. And so, they really taught me a lot about the musicology that music school did not teach me. Music school wanted to teach you this very, European heritage and the way that the European heritage moved to America, and completely erase the fact that, every type of music that there is on the planet comes from the motherland herself. And you had to actually be in African, studies, African, I took Western African dance class for over 20 years. And that's where I learned about, where the base of most Latin American music came from, because we had to write about it, when I was a college student. And, I think that that's the point is we're just listening, we're not learning. And when you don't learn about the history, rap comes from hip hop actually comes from Jamaican music. Jamaican music has a long stream that came from soul, which came from, basically hymnals and what we call gospel music, but was actually, field music, that the Africans used to communicate messages. So, there's this whole lineage, this whole history, that is just being erased, in music overall. And if you don't know these things, why did this music happen like this? And how, wow, like hip hop came from, reggae music. Yeah, it came from
Mhm.
the sound system, so a lot of people don't know, that, like, I love, it was well put by my daughter in a paper she wrote, about culture. And that when here's a 10-year-old who stated, when we erase other people's culture, that culture doesn't belong to one group. It actually is, the human story that belongs to all of us in some way.
Right.
So I think that we can't, like, get rid of cultures, and we can't get rid of the stories that are, historically sound, because then we don't understand, where that music comes from at all. And
But now you say try to get rid of. I'm okay. You just said that, and I'm
y-
trying to figure out who's trying to get rid of the cultures. I mean, what's
um
going on?
okay, so I mean, in my opinion, I do feel like, the way that record labels have led, who they put in the forefront, how the music's presented, it really whitewashed where music comes from. It really, like, started to eliminate the history itself. So, for example, my children were listening to some Korean pop music, and the whole song was
K-pop.
Yeah, exactly. And the whole song was a mashup of classic, funk, R&B, some hip hop artists, and I was like, oh, that, and my kids are like, "Oh, this is the best song they've ever done ever." And I'm like, "Actually, that's not their song. That's a mixture of other people's songs."
Okay.
And so my kids get a little irritated when I like, let's say, crumble the golden image of their favorite artist, and I'm like, would you like to hear the original? um
Right,
and I
right.
think, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I do have an issue with artists,
Copying.
I hate to use this word, but appropriating music and making it seem as if it's their own, but never like giving homage or history to where they even got the music or those moves or the sassiness that they're using from. Especially when people, from our culture, our part of the world, and still in Africa, are persecuted and belittled for even listening or creating this music, this style that everyone is listening to, everyone's wearing you
Okay.
know
Now, Nature Mom, I want to welcome on Trevor,
Hi,
and
Trevor.
maybe you can be the referee between me because I was saying, like I said earlier, and I want to apologize to Trevor because Trevor, to him, Bob Marley is the greatest as far as Trevor's concerned. Oh, he dropped off. Damn. Well, I'm sure he'll come
uh,
back on. Trevor come back on. And what I was doing, I was trying to implement. I was trying to take that away from him, and I do apologize. I don't want to take away whoever is their personal preference, and so that's what I want to kind of allude to. Now, the debate was around the original debate was around Jimi Hendrix versus Tony Iommi. So I wanted to kind of, and shout out to Asar, bring black people, and it's not even bring them because a lot of black people, they love rock and roll. They love it. They love it. They love it. They love it. But they're afraid to let the blacks next brother and sisters know what type of music they like. Oh, no, no, I like rap. I like R&B. I like rap. R&B, rap, R&B. And they're scared to really express themselves because music is not a color. Music is a frequency. And because it is a frequency, you have the right to listen to whatever. You have whatever you want to
Perform.
claim great is, that's great to the individual because it's a frequency. That frequency taps in to whatever person is listening to at that time. Like me, I feel like Tony Iommi is the greatest guitarist because that frequency talks to me, but it may not talk to the next person.
It is a personal preference,
It
and
is.
somehow like music has this ability to like touch people in completely different ways, depending on their emotional situation.
Hmm.
So, and it's definitely a preference, and I think that there's a lot of nostalgia to it as well, because I find in this part of the world, it's so funny. I'm hanging out with a group of Filipino guys, and like some hip hop comes on, and all of their heads start bouncing, and I'm
Right,
like,
right.
oh, okay, you guys are hip hop lovers. And it's just funny, and then they start showing me all kinds of like underground hip hop coming out of the Philippines right now,
Right, right.
and it makes sense why this music touches them so much, because as it was a, let's say, a music of rebellion, and we're talking about when we you know
But
it's called
I don't
music
think
of
we
rebellion
right,
when
but
we're talking about white cultures versus black culture. Yes,
uh-huh.
fuck the police, if I'm allowed to say it.
Yeah, you are.
Was a
Mhm.
rebellious song against police brutality, because people were just tired of getting slaughtered. Did that music change anything? No. Everybody's walking around the world singing the song to this day, and yet we're still dealing with the same type of police brutality. So I think that it's really interesting, that back to what I was saying before, people not like I'll tell you a great example. I was listening to India Irie one day in an interview, and she said that a very popular white artist doing hip hop music, was like, getting an award, and at as the artist came down on the stage, she sees India Arie, and she said, "You know what? You are my biggest inspiration, and it's just so wonderful to meet you on especially this day where I'm getting the award." And India Arie said to her, "Then give back to the community that has given to you.
Hmm.
You should mention who your influences are, because you are a part of an industry that is still walling black artists."
Right.
And cute white girl can do the music, but black artists are not getting the same pay, they're not getting the same recognition, the same coverage.
Hmm.
And you see the agenda when you look
Right.
deeper into, well, yeah, I mean, that artist, her voice is like much more powerful, and
But who do you? I mean, do we really put the blame on? Because, like I said, you got people who are just exposed to what they see on TV and whatever mainstream radio, and
Mhm.
really don't know how to seek out. Well, and again, it goes down to personal preference. Now,
And
marketing to a more
education, I think.
yeah, but
I
still, you got to still look
I
at the marketing aspect, even amongst black people. Now I know during the '80s it was rampant where they marketed more light skinned people, the El DeBarges, the Princes, Blackson, we had the thing with the Ligo condition. So it's like, who do we blame at the end of the day? It's still the individual. Like
um
my music.
I'm gonna still go right back to the whitewashed American narrative. I do blame industries for keeping that this keeping a conversation that uh, that it's not okay to be black. I don't know if anyone's aware of this, but back to musicology here. Michael Jackson became the first black person ever featured on MTV, and it was
That's right.
because
Yep.
of that Billie Jean video.
Yep.
He and what I loved about what he did, he went in, and when he made that video, he intentionally made it a storyline that was not being used before. A music video was just a music video. He made a small movie. And, so I
Right.
feel like, yeah, that narrative does continue to this day. I do feel like, kind of like in the workforce, women have to jump through 3 times more hoops than a male. For the same position, I do think that black people have to jump through, like mega hoops just to get recognition that other people get much easier because they are, like you said, lighter, brighter, easier,
Gamer Whiter. I'm sorry.
easier, to be, manipulated, malleable, whatever.
Hmm.
I think that's also a little bit of musicology. Um, Sorry, I see a message here. Interesting that rap comes from reggae. In all my music classes, we were told that it evolved from rock. Um, I mean, in a way, you can say, because rock actually came from blues. So that whole, like, what did the music lineage go through? It went through. Uh, Actually, let me Zanzi first finish what I was saying, and then we'll come back to that statement. Um, I do feel like there is, yeah, a narrative um, that you know uh, lighter is better. It seems like that narrative is shifting in some way, because I'm very careful with this whole Karen, the causing of the Karens, and
Right.
calling someone a Karen. I mean that, like, a lot of white women are who are named Karen are changing their names because of the tyranny that's coming down on them because of this. And I think that, like, that is what I call blame shifting. It's not these women, it's the way that they were educated. It's not these young artists, who are trying to withhold information. It's an industry narrative that has been carried, from the beginning of time. you know, go
Nature
ahead.
Mom, the thing we you keep I see you keep mentioning the industry. The
Yes.
industry, all they're concerned about is the bottom dollar, the bottom line.
Yes.
And people in their arguments, and I've done this too, Trevor's done this, and even Hassar, and even my past debate with Don Kimmett, when we debate Tupac and Fela Kuti,
Hmm.
we'll always run to, and this is not only black people, this is all people, will always run to the sales.
Yeah. Yeah.
So well,
Absolutely.
who sold more albums?
Yes.
So
And
when we
and I
got
think that
that,
that's a great point.
okay.
It's the marketability and what's
Hmm.
what the black market is a small market if you were just
It
trying to
is.
target black people. So if you want to get those sales out to the white kids, to the Asian kids, to the Latin kids, Latinos, then you need to make that person fit into the same narrative, which is, who's better. I
You have to
mean,
be
we
more universal, is what you're saying.
and and what people have already instilled as marketable. So what they distill is marketable mostly is, no, don't have an afro, have long luxurious locks, that you could flip around, because that somehow has been passed along as being more beautiful. And
The
that
Millie
narrative,
Vanilli look.
and wow, and we see how that ended for them. They did, and it's true. That's tragic story of Millie
Millie Vanilli.
Vanilli.
Mhm.
They were just trying to get their rent paid and took an
Right.
opportunity that was presented to them by a record
German.
label
Yeah.
executive,
Hmm.
and that record label executive did not want to put the overweight, darker skinned people out there because they could not
Not
make
marketable.
more money.
Right.
They weren't as marketable visually. So,
Right.
yeah, I do think
So do
that
we
we
blame
are.
them for the science? Because actually it's a science that actually worked, and the only reason
I mean,
Millie
this.
Vanilli was exposed because there was a double cross. But you got to admit that that was a good marketing. Still to this day, if you look back at Millie Vanilli minus the double cross, you're like, that was genius. That was
I
genius
mean,
because when you look at the people that actually sung it,
I wouldn't
they
call
didn't
it
really have
genius.
much.
Genius is not the word that I would use. I think diabolical
Marketable,
is
okay, but
yeah.
marketable, but
It's
still marketable.
no, I said diabolical is
Okay,
what I said. Because I think that it does continue this narrative that is dangerous. We are going to show you what we think is beautiful. I mean, I remember noticing the first time I saw a black newscaster on television. I
hmm,
ran to my mom and I was like, "Oh my gosh, there's a black lady on TV, and she's not a maid. She's not, a nurse mother. She's
hmm,
not a slave." It was very, and I think I was like 5 years old at the time. Somewhere
right.
between 4 and 6, and
But Nature Mom, and this is why it's 2023,
yes,
and I hear it's almost like we be talking from a place of victimhood. You yourself have
mm,
commercial a commercial yourself, and
yes,
and I'm seeing more commercials like yours more often now on cable.
yes,
So
yes.
like I understand the history and I understand where we had to come from and struggle, but we're not there no more. You're seeing
Um,
more
You're
black
you're seeing
commercials.
more black commercials out there,
Yeah.
and you are seeing more people step up to limelight because once,
Hmm.
like you said, they go for the dollars. It's all about the marketability, and we know
Hmm.
that the music industry has taken a huge, hit, and since the George Floyd incident, becoming so globally publicized,
Right.
then it's a conversation that people can't hide anymore. But
Yeah,
so I
but
do think it's taking a shift. Do I think that this is going to be a permanent shift? Not if we don't hit on the honesty of why these things are coming out to the limelight. We're going to go back into the same
well, that's
shift
why
because
I said, but I don't want black people to fall into the same type of trap that white people did as far as marketing. I don't want us to be, oh, he's great just because he's black. I want people to understand it's a frequency. Now, if you
Yeah,
master that frequency as a
I
white person or as a black person, then hats off to you. Now, I understand about the people stealing and this and that. That truth will come out eventually. But at the end of the day, music, this is why I said Tony Iommi is such a great guitarist because he endured the longevity.
yeah,
He has been on the charts since 1969 up until now. He was the first senior citizen band to sell 1 million copies in 14 countries. And you mean, and they
yeah.
built a bridge. They built a bridge. You know, they built Jimmy a little statue in Seattle, Washington. But Tony Iommi was the
Yeah,
first
you got a bridge.
guitarist that they dedicated a bridge to.
So, I mean, I think that on the same point, that's exactly where we have to move
I
towards
hope
the
you're listening,
future.
Zanzi. I hope you're listening, Zanzi. Go ahead. I'm sorry,
Uh,
Nature Mom.
I
Because
think
he still
that
doesn't
like
see why Tony Iommi is great guitarist, but I'm going to really get into it eventually. But
okay, okay.
go ahead. Yeah, okay.
But I think that that's just the point. You know, Tony Iommi, he was actually one-handed. Am I right?
He lost two of his fingers. It's the two.
Okay,
Yes,
okay. But
right.
I
And he
knew,
had,
yeah, he
yeah,
had some kind of,
yeah.
physical limitation. So, I think that like that's kind of the point is, oh, yeah, why me? You
Oh,
gotta
I'm getting
laugh.
on your heels. I'm gonna get on your
Uh,
heels, Zanzi. I'm getting on your heels today.
uh-oh.
Go ahead. Go ahead,
So,
Nature Mom.
anyways, I do think that, he had to overcome things that other,
Right. Not only
musicians
did he have to write
came over.
music, not as
Yeah.
you being a musician, you have to write music. He had to
Yeah.
create prosthetics. He had to
Yes.
align the prosthetics with playing
Yeah.
the fret, and then he had to go through the pain, endure the pain.
Yeah.
But he
Yeah.
went through the pain, and then he had
Yeah.
to take care of Ozzy, Geezer, and goddamn Bill, who are high all the time.
Huh? Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, to
I
make
mean,
this
really.
great band.
So I have to agree. I mean, it takes a lot to like put out a good performance when all the odds seem stacked against you.
Right.
Moving into, conversation about FIFA, we
Oh, yeah. I'm
it,
sorry.
it
Yeah,
was no, it's okay.
yeah.
But I think that
Because
like
it's kind of related to music. The FIFA
it,
thing is related to music. So
it's very related because we noticed very early on that there were almost no bands like ours, and we actually performed in an all Arabic zone.
yes.
In this part of the world, Arabic music is like very, very popular. And so when we were, like performing, for almost
All Arabic.
100% Arab crowd, I was like,
Right.
are we sure they put us in the right place? But like you said, frequencies, when you've got to overcome, all odds stacked against you. We were all sick. The
Right.
weather switched like this. So we got really sick very fast up on this, open air windy stage. It started to rain for the first time of the year, and every odd was stacked against us. My
Mhm.
voice went out the first night, and I still had to perform. There was
Right.
no not doing this. So I think that when you can, like you said, you can um stand up against the odds that are stacked against you, you really show yourself as a professional in that area.
Absolutely.
And let's say, like, what other musicians would have lost an appendage and still continued not only to like move forward musically, but to create. I mean, this guy is basically an inventor,
Right.
doing the things that he did. So I think that that already raises him to a level of greatness when you can use your multiple resources to present,
And not
your
only
best show,
you did
you know.
mention now, mind this was a debate too. Also, you mentioned me being a musician myself, there was a disadvantage. So I mentioned the light gauge strings, and so my opponent had to scramble and Google on the spot because you're not supposed to Google during a debate, but everybody.
Okay.
So yeah, it basically by
Okay.
default. I get it because, and he was,
Ah,
you
cheating.
know, he was cheating, right? He was because
No,
I used.
you were cheating. Did you tell him you had a background?
I kind of hinted at. Well, no, no.
Oh,
I told him. I said I play
oh, okay.
guitar.
Oh,
I simply told him I play
yeah.
guitar and I wanted to test some of your musical know-how because I know you have some. Because all black men at some point touch into some form of music. And so being that a SAR,
Interesting
I
statement.
just it is because because first of all our jobs are really limited. Most black men in America don't want to work a 9 to 5. So what's the first besides selling drugs? Music. So the odds are very high of some black men touching, unless they go to college, unless they play ball, unless they just do the 9 to 5. Even if they do the 9 to 5, they're going to come across music unless they're into sports and or college. So you see, the sports or college, and even people got it into sports. They even some of them even tap into music. So I say that to say this, being he's around my age. I said I'm willing to take a gamble in his. I don't know how old. I'm assuming he's my age. Within all them years, he done dabbled in some music. I just assumed it.
Okay.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna stay, and I was right. It's just a gamble that I'm willing to take. That I know the stakes aren't too high. Meaning the oh, why am I getting a glare? What the hell? Hold on, these. Let me. Ah, sorry about that. I'm getting a little. Okay, that's better. Yeah, that damn. Weird. Oh, that's weird. Okay, I'm sorry about that, Nature Bomb. So what I'm saying is that, ooh, that's even worse. What the hell's going on?
Yeah, some kind of something going on there. Yeah, almost like
Go.
as a reflection back.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
Damn, that's weird. Okay, sorry about that, y'all. Let me.
Oh, it's technology.
Yeah, technology. Yeah, just ghosts just jumped in my room. What okay, sorry about that, y'all. Little weirdness. The camera. I'm sorry, y'all. So I say
Yeah.
that to say this. I just took my chances, and being in musical debate, I can kind of. I'm gonna say this. Black people almost fall into a stereotype when it comes to music.
Yeah.
So I
I
can
mean,
take
and
that.
I mean, you were
It
talking
really
about like black people being afraid to do rock. There's a lot of black musicians who fought to do rock. I mean, look at
absolutely.
Living Color, you know.
Hmm.
I mean, I think one of the
Oh, look
best
at
rock
Sepultura.
bands.
Sepultura was one of the most top Latino bands, and they're from Brazil. And one day they just fired their lead singer, one of the top bands, and they went to Detroit and just got this black man out of nowhere. I was like, wow, that was a bold move.
Wow.
But they understood, they saw the foresight that black men are the best candidates for death metal
Hmm.
as far as vocal wise, because we have the range, we have the depth. You have white men forcing themselves to have a deep voice and just be rasp, just what comes along with that type of genre music. And apparently they had the vision and now it's working. Their lead singer
Wow.
is a black guy from
Oh
Detroit,
yeah.
man. Shout out to him. I forgot his
Huh.
name, but yeah, what great singer. I'm like, wow. And he just does it so
Yeah.
nonchalantly. A lot of the people in that field, they lose their voice
Hmm.
because a lot of white males, they lose their voice.
Hmm.
It's just what is with a lot of Hispanic men, but men with melanin, like myself, like you, tend to just do it naturally. And so I foresee that being more bands are going to start hiring more black males, but black males have to be able to be
Well, and
courageous and step
kind of
out.
back to our conversation about like industry, and manipulation of that storyline. There's
Hmm.
been so many great bands that never, got the exposure because they were doing a particular type of music
Right.
over other bands. So, for example, where I grew up as a kid, we had all these backyard parties,
Hmm.
and with me being from LA, you had the kids from, South Central, you had the kids from Culver City, you had the kids from Venice Beach, you had the kids
That's
from
right.
Santa Monica, from the hills, from the Palisades, Palos Verdes. And so there was a lot of talent that came from that time of my life. And I do remember seeing Chili Peppers playing at a gig in Venice Beach.
Hmm.
They were one of the local bands.
Yeah.
And but at the same time, um we had Fishbone, who
Yep.
still they're still together. I got to hang out with them in
Oh,
my
Chili.
last few days.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Chili Peppers and Fishbone were
Yeah,
from the
Fishbone.
same
That's
era.
right. Yep.
They were
Fairfax High
playing
School.
the same. Yeah, yeah. Wait, yeah. Chili Peppers went to Fairfax,
That's
and
right.
Fishbone, I don't know what school they went to.
Fairfax. They either went to, no, they wasn't Hollywood because I went to Hollywood. They went to Fairfax too. They were Fairfax because remember,
Really? I
yeah, yeah,
didn't
yeah.
know. I thought, okay, I didn't know
Fair,
that.
Actually, Hollywood High School fell off, but it was Fairfax and Hamilton.
Yeah,
Hamilton and Fairfax were the ones the stars came
the
from.
biggest
So
music,
the
yeah,
big, yeah, but I
schools.
think Fairfax was a little bit above Hamilton, but
A lot
I
of
think
good bands
after,
came out of
yeah, a
there.
lot of
Yeah.
good bands. Yeah,
But
lot of good bands.
look at why Fishbone, I mean, they are, I would even say, they even have better songs,
Hmm.
and yet they didn't get the same coverage and
Push,
notoriety
right.
that Fishbone did, because Fishbone was an all black rock band. Am I saying they're victims of something? I do think that there was a narrative. Even I remember singing for a couple of record labels back in the day, and we were from the school point of view, we were told, no, you can't sing this particular way in school. We
Right,
were
right,
banned from
right. Yeah,
stylizing, which they call
that's
riffing
right.
now.
Yeah,
We
right,
were we were intentionally steered away from, let's say, Donna Summer and Whitney
right,
Houston music, and we were pointed towards Barbara Streisand and
right, right, right.
other artists
Real quick,
in
Nature,
music class. Go ahead,
I
sorry.
want to bring in Trevor. Trevor, you can jump in anytime, brother. I just want to let him know you
Hey,
hear him. Hey,
hey, what's going on? I don't know what
Peace.
happened earlier. How you doing, Nature Mom? Um, so I'm getting ready to go to a Dolphin game. So I just wanted
okay,
to
okay, okay. Good
are
Wow.
deal.
we are we doing Champion Circle tomorrow?
Yes, I will set up Champion Circle tomorrow. There's supposed to be a debate tonight between Scheme and Madon Kemet. Is Jesus real? So I'm gonna set it up anyway, whether the debate or not. And then Yang is supposed to debate. Oh shit, he's supposed to debate Monday. So I don't know, but they're still
Uh,
going. They're going back and forth with the title, Trevor. So I don't know. I don't know.
because I don't want to take away from Nature Mom's time. So I just want to
Oh,
save it
don't
to the
worry.
champions. I just want to save it to the champion circle because I saw your live the other day and you misrepresented me really bad.
Oh,
so
well,
so
I
I
do
need
apologize if I did. I was
so
just, yeah.
I need to we need to discuss that because you made me come off like some like I was some religious nutbag or something. I don't.
No, all I said was you had an issue when the black churches was infiltrated by the homosexual community. But we can
Hmm.
take that. Okay, so you're saying what I'm saying is that okay, you do realize Rastafari is a religion, correct?
Yeah, well, let's deal with that first.
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's deal with that.
I would because I wanted to come on when Nature Mom was talking about the reggae music,
Right.
but what I would say to you, I would be afraid to debate me on that too because there's no way because now you're running with the narrative that I've been saying the whole time that music is subjective and
It
the
is.
only way you could tell if someone was better than someone else you have to go to record sales. I've been saying that from the beginning. But now all of a sudden you don't want to debate me on that now, which
No,
it's fine.
well, because Trevor, let me state this because, like I said, Nature Mom, she mentioned, like I said, Malcolm X versus Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks versus who was that? Nature
uh,
Mom,
um, Calvin, Claretta Calvin,
okay,
no, Claudette Calvin.
Claudette Colvin, right?
Yeah.
And then we talked about the whole paradigm between how light skinned people were more marketable, like Prince, like El DeBarge, like Bob Marley during the '80s. That is what it is, and they didn't want to push more revolutionary music. Now, when you look at Rastafari as a religion. It's just like the ISUPK. It's burn down Babylon. That's the basis of every reggae music. Burn down Babylon. And you ain't got nowhere where Bob Marley talks about burn down Babylon. So I was just talking about the cultural aspect. You're talking about the sales. I concede to the sales. Yeah, they push Bob Marley.
Okay.
They push Bob Marley.
Okay.
I can't argue that.
Okay.
So what is the real argument?
Let's take Bob Marley out of it.
Okay.
You take Peter Tosh and give me Buju Banton. I'll still show you that Buju Banton is a million times more influential than Peter Tosh.
Okay, you said influential. That goes to sales again. Are we talking? I'm talking.
No.
We're having two different arguments here. Influential
because
goes based on sales.
Buju Banton's music is revolutionary. Like he's boom bye bye. He's talking about taking out homosexuals and things like that. His music he's more in the vein of a controversial vein of Peter Tosh. It's just weird that now we're on the same level. Weird. Okay. It's weird all of a sudden you don't want to give me that music debate because somebody probably wised you up to it. You didn't want to do that.
I wised myself up to it because the whole purpose of do you know why the reason why I debated a SAR on Jimi Hendrix versus Tony Iommi? It was to show black people stop being scared of each other when it comes to music. Music is a frequency. That's all I wanted to do. And everybody let loose. Asar let loose. He got so loose and so comfortable, he started talking about wrestling during the damn debate. So all I'm saying is stop pretending like we don't like a certain type of music. It's a frequency. You can't fight the frequency.
But you also made the point. Like I say, I'm going to this game, so I don't want to hold
okay, no problem.
Build up. But
okay.
You also said in that live I think I watched it I watched it Friday.
Right.
So I don't know when you did it. But
I did it the same day actually. I did it earlier that morning and you commented it later that day, right before the noon time. Yeah. Or night time.
So you said so you were talking about how like black people don't about we rock and roll and stuff. I love rock and roll. And
I wasn't talking about you, so you took it personal. I said in general.
No.
Okay.
No, but you were just making a bunch of different things in there, but you kept bringing it back to me and my let's burn down Whitey and you want to and I want to debate White Son. So listen to this. Right. Listen to this. I will because I said I'll take any debate because I don't care if I win or lose. That's not what this is about. Right. I'm going to bring an entertainment value and I'm going to show you guys the other side of things. Nice. You want that debate about what's better for black people, what system is better, America versus any other system in the world?
Yes.
I'll take that.
Good.
I'll take that.
Good.
I'll take that. I'll take that. And you're not gonna be dating Blackson. You're gonna be debating White Son. Yeah, bring White Son on. Because I wanna bust White Son's head. Bring White Son on. I'll take it. But we just have to. White hat. Oh yeah. We just have to. We had to really map the language of that out though, because Let's do it. Because it's going to have to be certain. Because I'm fighting a uphill battle, so we got to really map that out.
Yes, you are.
Remember, but I'll take it.
I'm a black nationalist, so I already know what all potential angles that you can come from. Oh, I got it. You talking about part who studied under Malcolm X, Dr. Khalid Muhammad. So yeah, I'm a black nationalist to the T. So yeah, you got to come and bring it, and you got to show a better system, Trevor. So yes, thank you. I'm gonna tell. All I have to show you, all I have to show you is where black people would prosper more than America. Correct? You have to show where this land is. That's all I would have to show you. Correct? Okay. And you have to cover every aspect I covered. Medical. You have to cover. Okay. Let's see. Medical is a good one. Let's see. Freedom. We'll set it up. Constitutional freedoms. Okay, let's set it up. We'll set it up. There you go. I mean, because
I feel like I should say ding ding.
Yeah.
you didn't want to give me the easy win. So I get it. I get it. I get it.
No,
But
because music is no, and
I'll
I
get that from the
apologize to
start.
you. You think that
I'll get
Bob
that from the
Marley's a great,
start.
huh? Oh, speaking of the
I'll get
SAR,
my eat.
oh yeah. I hope that debate goes down between you and SAR. That's gonna be a classic. Who's greater, Hulk Hogan or Ric Flair? That is gonna be a classic. That's gonna be a classic. I think that's a good debate for you to come to SVDL, be your first fight. You know good wrestling knowledge. He obviously knows good wrestling knowledge. I think that's gonna be a good fair fight. Now between me and you, it's not gonna be a fair fight. You're gonna look like roadkill when I'm done.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm gonna tell you this:
So
if you debate Yanga first before me, it's not gonna be easy for you, bro. And vice versa. If you debate me before Yang, it's not gonna be easy either way. Me and Yang are both black nationalists to the T.
but I
And you,
don't want it. I don't want this to look like Yanga and Blues debate because it almost sounds kind of like the same thing.
I tell you what, but that's why I had to contact Yanga. I want to make sure we're not doing the same debate. So let me find out what Yang and Blue doing because I heard Blue is trying to change the title. This is what I heard. They're trying to look. I'm just gonna be 100. I think Blue heard our show that we did with Inyame.
Yeah.
Blue was like, "Oh hell no, I'm not damn taking Yang on there." And I think he's trying to switch up on the title. But you know what? We'll find out Monday. You're right. I don't want to do the same debate, and that's why I contacted Yang. But if they don't do that debate, I want that debate with you. But it's similar. But trust me, I got you, brother. I'll debate anybody
Yeah.
on this planet
We'll just
when it comes to
we'll
black
just
people.
have to get we'll just have to get the wording. We'll have to get the wording down.
Let's get the wording down.
But and this because again, I don't care about wins and losses. That's not what this season is about to me. This
Oh
is
no, that's
about
fine.
getting
That's fine.
in
I
and
agree. I totally agree. I totally agree. It's you like me. You like to get a message out. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I was trying to tell Zanzi is I was trying to convey. It was many lessons and messages, and he didn't get it. So I was like, now, me and Nature Mom, we're going over it now, and we just happen to bring you up, Trevor. I'm glad you're taking that title, but I don't want to hold you. I know you got a game to go to, but however, after all my debates, I always try to break down, and that's what. And I want you to do the same. I want Yanga to do the same. This is the platform to break because I ain't got time during the debate to break it down. Now that the debate is over, I can break it down. Shout out to Asar. But Asar had to
yeah.
defend somebody. He couldn't play the race card with Jimmy. That's why I was like, oh, this is perfect. You can't play that race card with Jimmy. He loved white women. He loved white
Yeah,
women. And Jimmy loved
I'm
America.
gonna take that. I'm gonna take that. I was thinking about that last night. I'm gonna
I'm
do that.
glad you're taking
So
that. Right. I'm
I'm
glad you're taking that.
yeah, I'm gonna
Because
get
really,
ready to hit the road.
I
So
have no right to tell you that. I have no right to tell you who the greatest reggae artist is to you. And Nature Mom said the same thing. She loves Bob Marley. A lot of people do. I have no right to take that away from them. It's just not along my frequency. My frequency is
so
people coming.
let me give you a scenario because I was talking in a group and I made a statement and you would have thought that I tried to crucify someone. I made a statement that to me, Outkast isn't the best rap group,
They're
and
not.
you would think that I just cursed everybody out.
No, he
I
Nature
said
Mom
that eight
played.
ball and them I said that eight ball and MJG is better, and
Right.
they were like, "Oh no, how could you say that? How could you say that?" But again, it just goes to music being subjective.
That's
So
right. It
I
is.
get
It
it.
is.
I get it. I
But you know
get it.
what? That
So
whole musical debate was for us to take us out of being subjective. I mean, well, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Show that we're subjective. Really, the whole Jimi Hendrix and Tony Iommi is just a matter of like, what's your preference? Really, if you look at the Iommi and Jimmy, they sound the same because they both use I'm sorry, light gauge strings. They were the only two using light gauge strings, so they were the only two that had that sound. That's why when Asar was like, "Oh, Eric Clapton," no, Eric Clapton used standard gauge strings. Jimmy Page used standard gauge strings. The BB King and all the people over here use standard gauge strings. Tony Iommi pleaded with the industries to make a lighter gauge string because he was tired of the damn prosthetic falling off. He bleeding all over the fret. The roadies are trying to find the prosthetic. It's like, yo, he had to plead with him. I use light gauge strings before they might making light gauge strings. Shout out to Ben Cat. He's in the dang chat. Ben Cat, if you can you upload those videos? I know I got you. Damn it. I'm gonna talk to Big Cat later. Anywho,
So yeah,
yeah.
so I'll get with you guys later. Like I said, I'm about to hit the road, man. Hopefully my Dolphins can get a win and make it
All
into the
right.
playoffs.
Right.
Ugh. All right, so I don't want to hold any more of your show up. So peace.
Oh, peace, man. You family, brother. All right, peace to Trevor, man.
Take care, Trevor.
So you see, Nature Mom, what I go through. And that's the team. That's the
Ah,
team right there.
yeah,
That's not even the
I have to
ops. That
say,
is the
I've
team.
missed you all. It was a
Yeah,
long 2 months.
yeah. Oh, in fact,
Yeah,
he just joined the league that I'm a part of, the SVDL, and yeah, he's our part of of course, the arena family. He comes from the arena, but yeah, now he's the debater. So now I'm gonna have to face him in just to kind of get him worked in, get him worked
yeah,
in. But I
I
had to
love it.
realize that music is really subjective and it's
It
really
certainly is.
hard. It's really hard. Like me, not only do I have a musical background, but my genres of music, like a lot of people won't admit it, not only black people, but white people, like who listens to death metal, house music, rap, classical, like who listens to those variety of musics like that? That will admit it. There are a lot of people that listen to it, but they won't come out and admit it, especially black people. Because we're not brave enough to just come out and say it. Like, yeah, I listen to that. You know what I'm saying? And just stand on a square and say, yeah, I listen to that type of music. A lot of them are scared. And if you're scared of a frequency, because like I said, once that music gets in you and it hits you, it is what it is. But
Yeah, definitely a preference.
now you were talking before uh Trevor came on. You were talking about Arabic music because this plays a big thing. You had to face an all Arabic crowd who
Yeah,
just want to listen to Arabic music. So that's no difference when Jimmy trying
yeah,
to play the gypsies in front of black people who weren't listening to that type of music.
yeah. I mean, and luckily, I feel like we did our job well, because it was very surprising to get the feedback that we got. It was really awesome to stand in the arena and then have, like, ladies fully covered, full abayas, full hijabs, and just
Hmm.
like dancing to our reggae influenced music. It was really it was really amazing just to see how, like you said, the frequency can carry through. I was getting messages from all kinds of like corners, like, hey, is this you? And I heard that we're all over TikTok and you're being passed around within the community. So yeah, I have to agree. I just think that you never know what's gonna make the frequency crossover. So I was very honored to be able to play
It
for.
takes bravery. It takes
It
courage
takes
for the.
it
It,
does,
it takes bravery, and
you
that's
know.
why, yeah, you have to be, and that's why I have a love hate relationship with house DJs here in Atlanta
Mm,
because Detroit, especially ones from Detroit, Detroit has a certain sound.
mm,
Okay, Germany has a certain sound.
mm.
England, even New York. When they come to South, they cater to the South people. Like, what does the hell does Stevie Wonder have to do with house music? But don't boy, people in the South be ready to fight me over that. But they really, I
Oh,
mean, like,
so they
yeah.
don't know anything about disco, huh? The house music comes from disco.
Well, not only does house music come from disco, but they try to incorporate. It's weird because DJs will switch up when they come to Atlanta. They
Ah,
totally switch up. Like one type of house music that I love is Afrobeat
yeah,
and
yeah,
tribal that
yeah.
comes straight out of
So
the
like
mother
Fela Kuti and
Fela Kuti.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, and they get funky with it.
Hmm.
They come to the damn South, people be like, huh? This is the house community. Why not playing Stevie Wonder? And I just look at them like, really? And so now the DJs have to switch up and cater to the people who just, oh man, it's frustrating. So shout out to the house community. Shout out to DJ Kemet. Shout out to, I forgot all their names, but they do House in the Park here, but
Oh.
they have to
Oh yeah,
cater.
it's in Atlanta. A house in the
Yes,
park.
the House in
Okay.
the Park. Yeah, they
So
do
it's
it
a
every year.
house music venue.
Absolutely.
Ah, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
I Don't know why they called it House in the Park until this very moment. So okay, that's great. I think that one of the things I like about the South um, was the bravery of this like mix. They weren't afraid to put rock into hip hop. They weren't afraid to put you know, full on country music, which comes from rock as well.
Right.
Um, I mean, I'm not talking about, country music today is more like pop.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
that's true.
but I'm talking about like classic country music.
Well, rap is more like pop now. Every music is more like
Every
pop now.
every in pop
Every
is
genre.
definitely yeah,
You even got
becoming
metal. They call it. I forgot what they call it. They call it new metal. That shit is pop.
oh
I'm like, damn. How can
yeah,
you
new
water
metal.
down metal? But yeah, they did it.
Oh yeah,
They even
yeah,
watered
that's
down
true.
punk rock with Green Day. I'm like, man, that band sucks, but they're pop. What the
Yeah,
fuck? But anyway,
yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm going on
But
that tangent there.
it's so it's just interesting, like, how, yeah, it's, I think how when I was, in the South, I could hear like these nice mixtures. I think most importantly is I hope that, so much innovation comes from, real life situations.
Hmm.
It comes from, I don't want to say desperation, but let's say, opposition.
Yeah.
And uh, I'm not wishing that opposition continues, but the heart of, that type of creativity, I think is being washed away, and because assimilation, is a part of our evolution in mainstream society. So I think that that's why you see, even, what we used to call heavy metal is not heavy metal that they're playing today.
No.
Heavy metal today is rock. It's like pop rock.
Pop rock.
I
Right.
remember when
Right.
I was a kid and you were going to see a heavy metal band, you were going to see a mosh pit. You were
That's
going to
right.
just kind of hear rah, 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 rah,
Yeah.
I couldn't understand.
Right.
It was,
Again, it's a
but
frequency. It's a
yeah,
frequency.
and
Yeah.
when I was a kid, like I said, the music scene, on the streets, from high school to high school, when you're going to these house parties all the time, it was really a mixture of talents, and the jazz kids are hanging out with the heavy metal kids, or hanging
Right.
out with the rock kids, so I guess, I expect there to be some fusions, and I love fusion. My band is a fusion band.
Hmm.
We have a heavy island influence, but I have island in my heritage, but I am not, a Jamaican girl. Although I would love
Hold
to.
on, Nature Mom, 'cause you got people accuse you not being black, so be
Oh,
careful now.
oh,
That she ain't
that's
black.
oh yeah. I'm actually purple.
Fuck those
Uh,
people who said that about Nature Mom. Fuck you. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nature Mom. I'm sorry.
no,
You
no,
know.
no shame in their assumptions. Assumptions come from ignorance. So it's hopefully this will be their chance to educate themselves. You know, so I have no more to say about that.
Yeah, yeah.
but
It's not good.
but
Yeah.
but yeah, but I do see that there's going to be more and more fusions moving forward. But I think the biggest thing is not losing our musicology. Not losing the history behind this education, because it is an education as well. We're not just music is not just the frequency and the feeling. It's also a truth behind the story. It's also, a lot of people don't realize that all those hymnals that we sang in Baptist church were actually messages. And during the time of slavery, it was letting you know when your opportunity for liberation was going to come. So I think it's really important to not lose these pieces of history, of culture. And as time moves forward and more
But do
I'm
cultures change though, Nature
cultures,
Mom?
yeah, absolutely. Because
Change,
what is
they
culture?
evolve.
Culture is a belief
Music,
system. It's a value system, right?
yeah, food is included, music is
Yeah, yeah,
included,
yeah.
dress, of course. So I mean,
Right.
but that evolves in time,
It
you
does
know.
evolve, and and it can't ever stay the same. Even
That's why this
I still
whole
cook my grandmother's recipes, but my version is my version versus her version. She cooked with more pork and things like that. I cook with more
I'm
herbs
sorry.
and and
You said
beans.
pork. I'm just, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't want products. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I
That's
know,
just so
I
weird to
know.
me. I'm sorry.
No, but my version is, I find my flavors, with more seeds and more beans and more,
More healthy
herbs,
options. So
because now we
you had to evolve because you
because
noticed
of the
them.
science
It's
and
because of the
because of
science.
the
Because
death
black
toll.
people. Let me not get on
The
my vegan
diabetes,
tangent.
yeah. But with that being said, yeah, I do think that, like, bringing it back to performing for FIFA, it was a real challenge, because I think that, like, a lot of people underestimate the statement that this was the first Arab country to host
Right.
this huge event. And you could see it in so many ways. You can see it in what advertising got shown here
Yeah.
versus when I had my VPN on and I knew what advertising, they were playing in the US, like what's her name, Nicki Minaj, and
Right.
um
Oh wow. They're paying.
that
Wow.
yeah, that version hardly got played here. I mean,
Oh, okay.
it
Okay.
came, like, towards the end, because that was FIFA's also official music, and they sprung for that music to be made.
Okay.
So, they made
So
sure it was
she had to kind of clean up. I'm sure.
um probably there was a cleaner version played here
Right.
on the
Yeah.
radios. But the versions that
Coochie, yeah,
Yeah.
she can do
Oh,
all that in
I
front of
didn't
the.
hear. I honestly, I didn't hear the whole thing, just the main hook of the song,
Well, that
and
I don't even listen to her, but I can tell you that's the crust of her music.
okay,
That's
okay,
yeah,
okay,
talking about
but
body parts the
yeah,
whole time.
like, I'm gonna put out there that, like, there were a lot of comments made about the type of music that did make it on the venues here, which were it just seemed to be in a particular vein of music. I thought that was interesting. So, the BTS song, was played a lot. The Haya Haya, we actually played a little piece of that, just to appease the audience, and, like, yeah, this is why we're here, right? It's all about FIFA. um, which was what DeVito, and I forgot the other two artists that did the song with him. Um, but it was more era based,
Okay,
so it was really interesting just to see, like, what angle the FIFA was advertised here versus how it was advertised in other parts of the world. And like I said, like, the type of artists, that you kind of expect to cover this type of events, was really interesting. I did get to see, like, let's say, Black Eyed Peas, up close. It was, really
oh, they're
great.
still together.
The guys they had another girl who sang Fergie's parts. Yeah,
Oh, was she just as
yeah.
good as Fergie, or
Yeah, young,
was she younger? I bet she was younger too.
young,
Yeah, that's the
black.
thing about
I was actually told her name and I forgot,
right.
but I think some
But
young,
notice how
up
they're
and
not getting
30.
that push now.
I mean, Will I am, does he doesn't really need it, he because he's all over the place. I mean, he's on, like, some popular shows that my kids watch online, like
Okay,
the talent kind of shows. He's got, I think, a pretty good stream of
okay,
investments and connections.
right,
Maybe for the other guys, they probably need this type of work a little bit more, because I don't see them out there the way I see Will.i.am. I know
right.
he's
So he
producing.
carries. So he's
He's
carrying the band, kind of like
I'm
how
not
Tony Iommi carried Black Sabbath. especially when Ozzy left the band.
I don't know. I'm gonna say that Sharon Osbourne carried Black Sabbath. That woman is
And that
ruthless.
was part. Oh, and that was part of the debate. Glad you brought that up. Glad you brought that up. And
Yeah,
she actually
she's
plays.
she's a
She
tough business person.
not only is she a tough business person, but she's erasing the history without Ozzy. Basically, whatever Black Sabbath had without Ozzy, they're erasing. So your Dios is gone. Your Ian Gillian's is gone. They she is like almost wiped them out of history.
Right.
And Dio
But
was very well known.
I think
Damn.
that's a very important point to make. How people across many different areas are able to rewrite history so
Yeah.
easily.
And
And
Sharon notorious.
and I think like in music in general, I mean, let's be honest, Elvis Presley became famous because he was hanging out with the black guys and was learning some of their moves
Yeah,
and
he was
took
on the
it to a
fitness
white
side.
audience,
Yep.
and
Yep.
and boom,
Genius.
he's one of the biggest guys in the world,
Yeah.
you know. And so, I think that like that's what's so important about musicology is really holding on to the truth, the sound history. And there is something, to pass forward. There is, this legacy, that I think that we need to pass on so that, in another 100 years, people won't think that, the island base, that comes from particularly Rihanna songs that Blackpink are using in their current songs is not called Blackpink song, but is known to be, originally from Rihanna. A little
Hmm.
piece of history that's like happening right now. Dua Lipa was taken to court by a, not a very popular reggae band. And when I say reggae, let's call it like pop reggae. And they sued Dua Lipa for stealing their music.
Right.
And the thing that like came to my mind was not what her song is. If we're going to talk about anybody doing that, that chord progression together, Outkast did it first. So it's like,
Again, Nature Mom, and this is the argument that I had with the Tony Iommi, Jimi Hendrix thing. So I get what you're saying,
mhm.
but do we, as a black people, do we take this victimization and bring it into music? Because music is a frequency.
Well, I like the way, I mean, because I'm sure Outkast has seen the publicized court case, Dua Lipa, and I like
Yeah.
how they handled it. They're sitting back, like thumbing their money through their stacks of cash and laughing their butts off, because I think that anybody who really knows music knows that that music line, that music progression, came directly. It was Outkast who did it first. So they don't even bother to get into the fight because they're sitting, fat on the hog, knowing that if somebody really, a lot of musicians did dig into this case for the court.
Andre's vegan, by the way, so he ain't sitting on no hog. He's vegan.
Oh,
So I'm sorry.
that's why he's so skinny.
Yeah, in fact, at my favorite smoothie bar, he cut in front of me, and I'm like, dude,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know what I'm
How dare
saying?
you?
Yeah,
That's
no,
my
yeah, he just
smoothie.
cut in front of me, like I'm Andre. Don't you know who I am? And I just
I
looked
am
at this little
3000.
dude, and I said, okay, you got that, brother. And I was just like, oh, no wonder he cut in front. Oh, that's Andre from Outcast. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
But yeah, he just cut in front of
yeah.
me, and I'm just
Yeah.
like,
See, he doesn't have to go to court and fight Dua Lipa or somebody over a song. He's already cutting in front of you for smoothies. He knows where's the right place to be.
right,
He doesn't need to fight that battle.
right,
He said, "No victim here. Just give me my smoothie, bitches." So,
right. I'll just cut in
but
front of that man right there, that 6'2"
yeah.
man right there.
No, but
Like,
I
what's
think
this
that
little bitch
I
cutting
mean,
in front of
this is what
me?
I love. I don't think that black people takes the position of victims all the time. I think that what's really interesting is, for example, how, like I said, Michael's story with Billie Jean video, it
Uh-huh.
it set the tone for MTV videos. I mean, for
Okay.
that day, and it set the tone. The way that people are presenting music videos these days, as
Yeah.
if they're small films and they're trying to look like it's something new.
Yeah.
Michael did it first.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Of course.
and
Whether he was
let's look at what the artist formerly known as Prince did. He was not going to be bombarded and bullied by the record labels, the huge record labels. And so, when they showed him that they had ownership of his name, he said, "You can have my name." And he changed this. He just totally changed the game
Yeah, but
itself.
when it comes to Prince and Michael, would you say that they even took it to a whole nother level? Because Michael talked about how they were trying to assassinate him. We're talking
You
about
know,
a whole
I
different
mean,
level now. What,
let's say
okay.
let's be honest. Look at all the character assassination that he had to endure. The
No, I'm not talking about
terrorization of.
character assassination. No, he's talking about no, they're actually trying to
Right.
kill him. Kill him,
I
kill him.
mean, I think
But yeah,
that
go ahead. I know
what
you were going though with the
no, but
childless, right? With the
I would say that, like, the ingenuity and the intelligence that those two men had to present to the world as artists, because the giant music industry that dominated the laws, they dominated with lawyers, they dominated the artists. There's so many artists walked away broke,
right. That's yeah,
owing
right,
the industry, while the industry made millions off of them
right.
and owned all the rights of their music. These guys had to be 10 steps ahead all the
Absolutely,
time.
absolutely.
And I think, honestly, this is part of both of their early demises, is just having to fight for so long. How
Yeah,
long can you keep fighting? I mean, I remember an interview with Michael where he said, the lies that people tell, sometimes they tell the lies so many times you
right.
start to believe them.
Believe it.
you know
Yeah, yeah,
he
yeah.
started to believe the stories about himself because it was just told so many times.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's just say I've seen how the government works in a similar
Absolutely.
vein.
Hmm.
So is
Putin, Ukraine. I'm sorry. We're going.
but to be a single person, to always have to fight uphill battles, that's a hard burden to carry. So I'm just really I'm really proud of what those men taught me about music, about working with these
Right.
industries. I'm just happy that there's YouTube now, because there's a completely different way for young people to go. And
Is yeah.
if you are smart and you take the lessons from the past, you can really move forward. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I took a lot of those lessons. I did my business dealings here, with a whole new, legal system, a whole new, culture that I'm not very versed in, and still had to do business. Not
Right.
only do the performance, but I had to, do the deal and make sure that as a
Oh
band we
yeah.
were treated well,
Absolutely.
and that and being willing to say, okay, you know what, so thank you, but no thank you if you need to do
Right.
it that way. you know so it takes a lot to be, I think, an artist these days, especially to be a global artist, to do big events.
Hmm.
When you're not a big name that has like a team of lawyers you can go to,
Right.
you have to be very diligent in your educating yourself,
Right.
and your bravery.
Well,
you
that's
know
what I was talking about. You not only did have to do music stuff, but you had to do management.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I had to
Mm,
handle
yeah.
all of the management, all of the, putting the band together, getting some of the players here from other countries. Yeah, it was a lot of hard work.
Hmm.
So there was a lot to consider every step of the
Right.
way. Yeah,
Right. Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Well, Nature Mom, man, this was a good comeback show. I apologize for the show we tried to do from the truck. I will never do no more truck shows with you again. Anytime we do a show, it's gonna be from the house, like I'm doing
Okay,
now. Because yeah, that
okay.
truck show was just yeah, that's that's it's a high risk when I do shows from the truck.
Yeah,
So
I get that.
yeah, I'm not gonna do that to you or nobody else. That'll just be me doing a truck show. If anything goes wrong, then they know what to expect. But I'm not gonna treat my guests like that. So I won't do a truck show per se. It
Yeah.
just it ain't been so long. I said, dang, I wanted
It's
to get
been
Nature
so
Mom back on.
long.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I
I
think
mean,
I
I think
kind of
like
rushed the
2 months.
process.
If
Huh?
I'm, it's been
Yeah,
like
too
2
much. Yeah,
months.
yeah. Yeah, but you're doing
Yeah,
your music thing. So,
yeah,
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 yeah, you're
yeah,
doing the music thing. So,
yeah,
we get it, we understand. Um, like I said,
yeah.
not only do you do music, you do commercials, over in, like Europe is like you said, it's a different type of
Different
market.
market. Yeah.
Different market. Okay,
I
okay.
mean, what's interesting is that the US commercial I did, they went to Europe to do it, you know? So I thought it was
Right.
really funny, like how all of these US, you know,
Cheap labor.
y- yeah, for sure. I mean,
No unions.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Right.
let's just say, they know that they can get like top of the line, skilled, uh,
People that are
talent.
hungry, right.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
not have to pay as much, not have to protect their rights as laborers as much. Yeah, so there's a lot going on.
That is a
Yeah,
lot going on. That's a whole
yeah,
other
yeah.
topic. So I heard
Oh, it's a
people
whole
that, yeah.
and in the Mideast, wow, it's like
Oh, even
I call
over the
it
level. Yeah.
I call it the wild Mideast.
Right, right.
Yeah,
I get it. I
it's
totally get it.
all brand new over here. So, you
Right,
know.
right. Being that it's brand new over there, do you feel like you have a edge over, I guess, other musical bands and talents over there as far as like,
Mm,
I
I won't
guess,
I won't say that. I think that what I found is um, not being connected to let's say um, not that I'm not connected, but I've gotten my gigs myself. So I
right,
have had to represent myself and my children because they've also done commercials and films.
right,
Um, and I'm pulling from all of the experiences that I had. So, there was a situation where I did a film over here, or, like a promotional film, like commercial. And it's it was not on the same standard, of course,
right,
that I was used to in Europe, and, so there were some situations where I had to they made a mistake. I gave them options to avoid that mistake because
right,
I was used to, what, a production house, and a casting house would already have prepared for us
right.
in Europe. And so when it wasn't ready, I was like, okay, well, I brought some options, so maybe you want to look at this. And the
Yes.
director made a big mistake. And when the mistake was made, asked me to come back and with my children and do it again for free. And I was like,
Oh
no,
no, because he
no,
hell no.
mm-mm, absolutely not.
What the
Mm-mm.
hell?
Yeah, so it just really shows you, like,
Wow.
this is a developing, area. I can see, like, a lot of there's a long ways to go to catch up to other, industry standards that are
Mm,
actually producing high quality work. And so, I'm kind of excited to be here because, like I said, I have this experience. So to be able to like put quality on the table, and say, look, I can give you this, here's my, show reels, here's my experience, or you can go get a bunch of students and good luck, you know
right. Yeah.
and I wish you the best. So it was easy for me to like know what quality I could promise and what level of professionalism I'm bringing to the table in these things. And I think that, like, that know-how really helps me to choose or not choose. what I'm gonna do. So
Hmm.
I don't find myself in unhappy situations. you know, I
Right,
find
right.
myself pretty pleased, with the deals that I'm doing, and pretty pleased in what I accept or don't accept.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Um, I definitely want to have another music conversation, but I want to go in a different direction. So I guess this time is good for you. Oh, you can't hear me?
Oh yeah. There you go.
Oh
Now you're back.
shoot. Uh
Uh
oh. I
oh.
think I got a short in this. Uh oh. I'm not.
Yeah. Sounds like it.
Ew, not good. Okay, so more money this year I got to spend out. But okay. Dang, my damn headphones are going out now. Um. All right. Well, Nation Mom, I want to definitely thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having
So
me.
I
And
guess this
just
is
thanks to the whole community, if I could say,
yes.
really, I felt you guys with me 100% away. And, just like I was, let's say I took it as if I was representing all of you in the community. So thanks for
Hmm.
being there with me.
And we got to get clips eventually. So
Yeah, I just sent another message to try to get some kind of footage from this company because they kind of just disappeared after FIFA left. So I'm still working on that. I just sent out messages today. Yeah.
um, well, let me say this before you go. So that happened. Like, say for instance, another FIFA comes up. You have your own camera guy. Can you? I guess make
Y-
a range because this is like you don't want to allow nobody. This one thing Prince and Michael Jackson taught us is that you don't want nobody to have your masters of
Yeah, yeah,
anything. So and
yeah,
video is part of the having that master. So as a
yeah.
band, you have to secure that.
Yeah. So let's
You
be
don't want
honest.
to.
My camera
Okay.
guy is a professional, but he's also my husband.
Right. Right. Right.
So, I'm waiting for his footage because I know it's gonna be the best quality.
Oh, so you do have backup. Okay, that's all I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
asking
yeah,
because
yeah,
me, I used to be in a band too, and so I look at
yeah,
things
yeah,
now that I'm not in a band, but I still look at the business aspect
yeah,
and having masters and
yeah,
having this backup and the technical
yeah,
side. Even just doing a simple YouTube show, the technicals. So
yeah. It's a lot
I'm
of
learning
little areas.
just little areas in it. I don't
Mhm.
want to entrust anybody. Like I said, if I was just
Right,
hypothetically
right,
in a band again, I wouldn't want to trust nobody with original
right.
recordings, with original videos.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just saying, Nature Mom,
Right. Yeah,
you know,
exactly. So,
you don't want to be
we
at the mercy.
right. So, I mean, of course, my husband was also working, during this period too,
Oh,
because he
okay,
is a
right,
filmmaker. So,
right.
but he was able to come and do some nice photographs and nice shots. So, I think some of those photographs that I sent you were actually his work. Yeah. So,
Okay,
not, from a telephone and,
right, right.
kind of
Okay,
stuff. We needed some, professional quality stuff.
right,
And,
absolutely. Because that's part of your
and
portfolio.
right. And just trying to cover some bases. Like I saw that there was a news team there. And so I made friends with the news guy. So he's also a resource that I can tap into and say, hey, can you send me any footage that you might have picked up? So, I just thought it would be nice to add the footage that they have, but we have our own as well. So it's under editing right now.
Okay,
So, but I thought it would be cool to take the best of somebody else's work and add it in there as well.
okay.
But if it doesn't happen, we still have our own.
I see what you're saying. You want to see if you can add on other stuff before you
Yeah.
come with a finished product. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it'd
think
be
that's
nice
cool.
to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
it from different perspective and see how
Right,
their
right.
footage came out. And like I said, there's this news guy that I met there, so he's somebody else. I'm tapping into a resource and just saying, hey, if you have any footage where you picked us up in the background, would be great. Even
Yeah,
to
and that's why I didn't get on Trevor because marketing is a part of music. It's
yeah,
just
it's a
it is so
huge part.
so I
It's
can't.
even bigger than the music right
Right,
now.
right. So that's why I
Yeah,
can't really demonize it per se because there's an aspect of that. It's just like we need to eat, right? Even though
yeah,
there's foods out there that will cause all kind of diseases and ailments, we still need to eat. And music is the same way with advertisement. There still needs
Yeah.
to be a push.
Yeah. Yeah.
But my gripe was who determines who is great and who is not as great. Because like I don't consider Bob Marley great. I ain't never considered Bob Marley great. That's just me.
I mean, I think it's about reach. And I
Hmm.
think that that's what the new like era of advertising, because there's a marketing shift happening where they're not doing as much what they call disruptive advertising, like when you were a kid and you're watching TV and then there's this
Hmm.
disruption in these commercials trying to get you to buy their products. Now they just they have a whole new way. They're like, okay, you all have all these, like, people throwing their boobs and their, and
Hmm.
biceps and everything else on social media. Get them to hold our product. They
Right.
already
Right.
have the attention. So, it's just like you said, this evolution, just like in our cultures, there's an evolution in the culture of advertising. And yes, it is about who sees you, and how you make sure you stay in people's eyes. It's always been the hardest part for me because I'm not very voyeuristic, although I'm a performer. So it's just funny because, like, it's the number one thing that I have to really focus on and think about in this time when I'm representing the whole band. I'm like, okay, I got to
Hmm.
make sure we're getting out there. I'm getting everybody the exposure.
Right.
It is about, putting us out there as much as possible, and it's my responsibility to make sure that
Right.
happens.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm having to learn a new way of being, where before it was more, word of mouth.
Hmm.
Through the old circuit, the best bands got more people, spreading the word for you. And so this way, through social media, wow, it's a whole new beast of learning how algorithms work, and learning how to, like,
Yes.
keep putting yourself out there to these to attention hungry audience.
Right. Right.
you
Absolutely.
know
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Um, yeah, I have some things to say about that also, but I've already ran it. Um, you know, that takes me to a place of quantity versus quality, and sometimes in order to give quality, you have to lessen your quality. Your quantity, push out quantity, you got to lessen your quantity. And I've learned that just through products that we use daily. When it becomes, I notice. Let me give you a good example, real quick. There's a spaghetti sauce called Classical. Back in the day, they weren't very well known. They didn't use no sugar in their ingredients. Now, as they became popular and more mass production and more popular, they were popular because they didn't have sugar in their sauce. Now that they're mass producing, guess what they're doing now?
Yeah. I
They're
mean,
putting sugar in the sauce so they can
yeah.
more mass produce,
Yeah.
so
I
they
mean,
can
there's a
push out.
lot of this happening,
Yeah,
people really cutting corners and lowering the quality. I mean, I think that brings up a whole new topic of, like,
it
yeah,
does. It does.
what kind of audience are you, reaching for? Are you, reaching as far as you can, which is, like you said, this you know, um mass marketability, or are you looking for your key, audience that needs a little bit more TLC and time? So that's a tough one for me, because I think, like, in my nature, I'm more of a TLC kind of person. Um, but these days, I mean, there's just, like, our children, especially, and people in general, we're being trained to not have a very long attention span.
Right.
So um it's
Because
almost
they're
like,
pushing time, time,
and,
time. Like,
and,
oh,
and
money is
we're
time,
being
money's time. Yeah.
rewired, to look for the next thing, look for the next thing, look for the next thing. We get bored faster.
Yeah.
We need much more stimulation to get the same level of dopamine. So it's like a whole science,
Right.
and I think that's what's interesting, what artists and people in general have to compete with. So back to that conversation about quality versus quantity.
Hmm.
Quantity is what our people of today are being trained to chase,
Right. Yes.
and
Yes.
um,
And the
you
quality
know
don't even have to be good.
And quality does not have to be good at all, you know?
Damn.
Yeah. So, I'm
And
I'm
that's
trying to
why,
hold on to quality and
and
and like
that's
you said,
why,
and I have to fight against the clock because I know that the attention span is so short. It's a, you
right?
know,
And that's why I have to retire
hamster on a
from.
wheel.
That's why I have to retire. Shout out to Trevor from musical debates
Mhm.
because a lot of times people are missing the message. They're missing the message that I'm trying to. Like Trevor said, it's not even about winning or losing the debate, but he said he's an entertainer, so am I. So, but in at the same time, I'm kind of convey a message. But mission was accomplished on my end. I accomplished what I needed to do. I need to take the niggers outside of this little box of what they think great music is and who determines who that great music is and expose it. And once I did that, I job well done. And sent my opponent through a like really was. My opponent Asar. He's one of these shock debaters. You know what I'm saying? He's one of these tabloid types. He's one of these, and then he plays a race card a lot. So I said, ooh, let me see, how am I gonna get this guy? And he always goes with the mainstream. I said, you know what? I'm gonna see if because I already know he's programmed. He's gonna pick Jimi Hendrix as the greatest guitarist. And I put the bait out there, and he bit. And I said, gotcha, because he's the type of debater, that put black and white issues there. So I neutralize him because Jimmy loved white women. Can't go there. Then I had to set a standard of American standard, what great a guitarist or great musician is, and the English standard. That's why I asked you specifically, Nature Mom, about Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles. You can tell me all the great accolades. They're great American standard because they are disabled. Period. That's the American standard, and I just use them. But at the end of the day, if you go against a violinist that is autistic and you're going against them, they're going to here in America they're going to give it to the autistic person. That is the American standard. You cannot debate that. That is the American standard. If a person like they play the same thing you playing, they're going to applaud that person. Oh, thank you. It is what it is. You could do the same thing, and that autistic person doing the same thing you doing. Well, maybe not sing,
Okay.
but play any instruments, they're going to applaud. Here in America, that's the American standard, that autistic person. It just is what it is, okay? And that's why we applaud the Stevie Wonders, because Stevie Wonder's not that great. But that's just my opinion. And Ray Charles. And I know what you said. It's because they're blind. That's the American standard. The English standard, they build monuments for you. They built Tony Iommi and his band a bridge. Not a statue, a bridge. Need I say more, Zanzi? They built him a bridge. He is the only guitarist in England they built a bridge after. Zanzi. But somehow that went over his head. Because you know why? Because music is subjective, and he was taught about Jimmy. He was not taught about Iommi. So it's going to keep going over his head because that's not how he was programmed. But go look up that bridge, Zanzi. Go show me where a guitarist, they built a bridge in Birmingham. A bridge. Not a statue, a bridge.
Okay.
Show me another guitarist where he's been on the charts from 1969 all through the 70s, all through the 80s, all through the 90s, and up till now. The first senior citizen band to sell 1 million copies in 14 countries. Zanzi. You see where I'm going with this, Nature Mom?
Well,
I don't just do debates just to hear myself talk. I come with the receipts every single time.
okay.
Go check that debate out, Nature Mom.
I would definitely have to check that debate out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
And I
sorry I
can say
missed
this
it.
now. Yeah, Asar is Tony Iommi's number one fan now.
Hmm.
He puffs his chest out
As
now and
far as
talks flat out.
Zanzi,
Oh,
you
go
said
ahead. I'm sorry.
Zanzi.
No, I'm sorry. Asar
Asar.
was my opponent.
Okay.
Zanzi was trying to figure out well, nobody's won because he's only going by the mainstream media of what he's been taught. He didn't step outside the box. That was Zanzi's problem. He didn't step outside the box. And I was forcing not only Zanzi and Asar, but everybody to step outside of the box. Because England told you Jimmy was great. England, a lot of people didn't even know that Jimmy resided in England during the whole Jimi Hendrix experience, and that he was part of the British invasion here in America. They didn't know that. So I had to school them on that. You see how this debate works? I schooled them.
Hmm.
My opponent thought that Jimmy lived here the whole time. And then I had to school them on how race fucks you up, because the Black Panthers came to Jimmy like, man, Jimmy, you need an all black band. And so when he formed an all black band, it didn't go nowhere. The Gypsies. No, nobody even knows about the Gypsies, the Gypsy
I
Kings,
remember Bridget. Not Gypsy Kings, the
or the
Gypsies.
Gypsies. The Gypsies,
Yeah.
right. Did they go
Yeah.
anywhere in Nature Mode?
Oh. No.
But you're this great guitarist, though. You know why? Because England didn't deem him great after that when he had his all black band.
And let's be honest, like the type of music that he was doing was not the narrative of black music at the time,
No, it
and they,
wasn't. Right. And that's why
America
Little
loves to
Richard,
put.
that's why Little Richard fired him, and that's why the Ozzy brothers fired him.
Mm.
Brought that in the debate too. My opponent didn't know that. His head spun when I brought up goddamn Little Richard and goddamn Ozzy brothers. Everybody's head spun. Everybody about to explode when I said that. Jimmy was in Ozzy brothers? He was in Little Richard? And if Jimmy would have stayed here in America, he would have been another typical guitarist like B.B. King, like John Lee Hooker, like Chuck Berry. Because they all played guitar behind their back. It wasn't until he went to England, and white man in England cared, oh, look, Jimmy is great. Because they never heard light gauge strings before. The only other band they heard that from was Black Sabbath, but Black Sabbath, ooh, don't go near them, they're satanic. At marketability again. Black Sabbath was supposed to be greater than Led Zeppelin. But because Black Sabbath, where they get the other devil worshippers? Not knowing that the damn Tony Iommi and goddamn Beavis Brother, the biggest Christians that the world will ever see, who invented goddamn Christian rock. Oh yeah, Black Sabbath was reverse Christian rock. And that's why you got your Christian rap and Christian genres now, because of Black Sabbath. Because they didn't understand it at the time. Oh, they're the devil, they're Satanists. But anywho, a tangent, I'm still coming off that debate. Woosah, woosah.
Okay. On that note, I must go. But thank you so much for this experience, and so much more to come, so much more to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So see you guys next week. Yeah.
Yes, Nature Mom, same
Okay.
show. 10 o'clock, I guess that's
Yeah. 10 o'clock seems to be a really good time.
it's perfect for me.
And
especially on a
I'm
Sunday.
going to check out this debate that
Okay.
I
You know how to
I
get through it?
yeah. I believe so. Yeah.
Type in if you go to my page, there's a promo and
Ah.
it'll take you to the link. I got the link in the promo, the direct debates.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. If I can't find it, I'll send you a message.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but thanks so much, guys. Really, this is always fun. Yeah. So it's fun to we've covered a lot over
Yeah, we
the
did.
time we've met each other, from like science to music. This is I love
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah, I love it too.
Yeah.
All right, y'all.
Business, finances,
Yes.
all
Yes.
good stuff.
All good stuff.
Yeah. Politics.
Politics.
Yeah. Well, it just shows that we're in the conversation.
Yes.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. Thank you, Blackson,
Thank you, Nature Mom.
Trevor, Twin, Deacon, everybody out there. Thanks for this evening.
All right, we'll see y'all next week. We out. Peace, y'all.